Today we're drinking Mezcal.
Oh, yeah.
And again, we're entirely unsponsored. So if anybody wants to sponsor us on this Mezcal, we have debranded the bottles.
We do love a good mezcal.
Cheers.
Of course it's milk.
All right, guys, welcome to SipTalk number 7. Today we're going to be talking about unescorted showings. There's a new company doing showings without an agent present. We're going to talk about the best locations to buy and rent right now. And we'll be talking about how we each started, what prompted us to get into the business. So you guys want to do a quick round robin, introduce yourselves? My name's Justin. I'm the broker at DiGiulio Group.
I'm Adam Sindaban. I'm the associate broker here at DiGiulio Group.
I'm Joshua Dorisman. I'm a real estate agent in the DiGiulio Group Champs team.
My name is Yaya. I'm on Adam's team at the DiGiulio Group.
My name is Teron Parker. I'm a salesperson on Brian's team, Champs team.
Cool. Okay, so what do you guys think of this unescorted showings thing? When Zane sent me a link to their website. I checked it out. There was maybe a half dozen listings on there, but instantly I just thought, bad idea, for a whole bunch of reasons.
I think that's a terrible idea. I mean, the whole point of being a real estate agent is having the knowledge and experience of seeing a ton of apartments throughout New York City, and you really are able to visualize a space just by walking into it. Someone who's not from here, who's most likely going to use a brokerage, is not going to have the same skill set that we do. So I don't know how.
This is to skip the brokerage, though. You're avoiding the brokerage.
So how could you walk into an apartment when you've never really been into an apartment before and do that?
I don't understand.
Well, if you're not from, most brokerages use.
So here's you go to their website,
Okay.
and you look at the apartments, and then you go to the apartment that you think you like, and if you like it, you rent it through them.
Well, I think that's a terrible idea, especially for the landlord. You just have unsolicited people just
Exactly.
Well,
that.
that's
a
One-
random
one-
building.
one second, though, real quick. If you guys are on live, thank you. If you guys are on live and you have questions or you want to add to this, please make a comment, because I'd really like additional feedback outside of just this room. Obviously, we're all real estate agents. A lot of people watching are probably not real estate agents, so I'd love some consumer or renter feedback. But that's exactly it.
right.
You have people. You have the general public.
Anybody can just walk in.
It's a fucking clusterfuck.
Exactly.
You have a random. You can have a homeless person.
You can
a homeless
who could
person.
pretty much just live there.
And claim squatter rights in 30 days.
Exactly.
But I think that's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Just from a security standpoint, I think you have the general public going into apartments. At least, we have to get a real estate license and be affiliated with a broker who's then liable for our actions.
Well, I'm actually
I mean,
curious.
I'm liable for your guys' actions.
I'm curious on what landlords are signing up for that.
That's
too.
what I was just about to say,
I'm
like,
actually really curious.
Which landlord's just like, yeah, just go into my building, take my sink, take my fridge. Like, people can
But
just
that's
do
the
that.
other thing is people can go in.
And
I
steal.
found some crazy shit in apartments.
People can steal stuff.
But also, who's gonna? I mean, you could go in and steal
A microwave.
a microwave. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could steal a stove.
A washer dryer.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
I would bet you that if you stole a range out of an apartment, like if you had like some decent clothes on, or even like some handyman clothes on, if you dressed a certain way, walked into a building, and took the range out, especially if you had help.
No one's gonna question it.
Because who the fuck is gonna steal that shit?
Exactly.
Right.
But that's like $500 right there.
Right.
Yeah.
But-
you just like
or
put
more.
some paint on your shirt, act like you're like
The super.
a
I
plumber
mean,
or
actually, the
whatever.
super may stop you.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's probably like neighbors, general public are not going to stop you. But yeah, I mean, from a secure, and then you live in the building, and you just have random strangers unaccompanied by real estate agents,
Right.
popping up into the building, and wandering around.
Exactly.
Like literally, they could be knocking on your door because sometimes we've knocked on wrong doors, but
Yeah.
at least we're professional enough to apologize.
on that.
I got a question.
What is it?
It says, would increasing your commission percentage or the value of the real estate going higher make a real estate agent want to sell more aggressively?
Would increasing our commission
Percentage.
make us want to sell more?
Yeah.
I would think
No.
yes, but I
I
also
agree
would
with you on
think no. I think it's a real psychology thing. That I have people, and somebody comes to me, especially a newer agent, and asks for a higher commission split. my response, typically, depending on looking at their past, is why don't you just do more deals, right?
I agree.
Whereas when we do co-brokes and things like that, we can incentivize people by offering them to rent ours by offering them a higher commission. So if we have a seller that wants to sell and list us at 5%, that means we're co-broking at 2.5, 2.5, or in certain cases we're giving the other broker the full 3, and we're taking 2. So we might be incentivized at 6% to go an even 3 and 3. But it's really a psychology thing. I think it depends on. I'd like to hear the perspective of the question. I don't know who's asking the question. If it's a landlord or a client, a renter or a buyer,
Right.
and what commission they're talking about, sales commission or rental commission. So I just read an article actually on Inman about how technology is costing real estate agents money and not being more productive. But I don't think, in a lot of ways, technology doesn't help us as agents, because being really good at this job is being able to read people and knowing the market. And it's not really, being able to e-sign something isn't. I would rather just somebody come here, sign their signature, and be out of here than have to upload something, select every single line, set the whole thing up on DocuSign or Adobe.
Right.
Technology really, really hasn't helped. Something that I've noticed, though, in working with definitely thousands of clients, is that people can't make decisions.
Yep.
That's very
So
I was
if you
gonna
send
add on
somebody
to-
who's super indecisive into an apartment and you don't have somebody contextualizing their search
Yeah, I agree.
and putting things into perspective, they may not be able to make a decision at all.
I was going to add on to what Adam was saying, because not a lot of renters can actually visualize themselves there or any place they're living in. It may be difficult for them. So us being there also helps them as being able to understand.
But think about it, right? Let's say you have a client that's from Louisiana or from Texas or from Iowa,
Or
okay?
international.
They're not used to seeing apartments in New York City.
Right.
You're from New York. You see apartments every single day. That's your job. So it's really helpful to have that veteran of experience and that skill set that sees apartments day in and day out to say, when you first look at an apartment, you're like, wow, this is really small, or I don't know how to make this layout work. That's why you're there. You're helping visualize that space that can make it work for them, and painting a picture that could show a really great livelihood in New York City. And that's kind of why, I think that's a terrible idea, just on the level of that personal touch of what we do as real estate agents. But on the security reason, as Yaya said before, I mean, I don't know what landlord would be okay with foot traffic walking in and out of their building all day. I mean, they could have any kind of crazy person possible.
Even with cameras, though. Even
Yeah,
with
that's
cameras.
insane.
You have a
Not
one-off
only-
random stranger
It's a
coming
massive lawsuit waiting to
I
happen.
wouldn't say it's only the apartment that's kind of in trouble. I would say also the people who are living there as well.
Sure.
in. Yeah, but people can come and grab packages. A lot of buildings.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, maybe I'm discrediting it a little bit, because maybe they're doing some type of background or something like that on the
Right.
building. But who's
How
to say?
so, though?
Maybe
By
they do.
phone
I mean,
call?
I'm guessing they're not doing a background check on the people, but they might
No.
ask you to
Yeah,
upload
yeah.
your ID.
Yeah.
I doubt they're going as far as social security number or credit check or something. But I can't think of a level of security that having somebody go unescorted to a building would make any sense. Somebody who's in our building,
Right.
they just redid the 10th floor bathroom, and
Yeah.
they ripped all the dividers out, and I never got to see it, but they destroyed the bathroom, and they don't know who it is.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's why they put the cameras.
that's why they put the cameras. But
Exactly.
even with the cameras, you have a one-off that comes into a commercial building,
Right.
and tears some shit up and takes off, and never been in the building before, never been back.
I don't know.
What is a
how-
camera adding to your security?
Here's the worst part. Somebody could just be waiting outside the building and just watching people come in or out. And, I mean, I don't want to take it to a darker place, but,
You can easily go there.
True.
It's New York.
some guy sees some girl living in that building, and he's like, whatever, he was
exactly
standing
what I
outside the
Yeah, but I
building.
don't
He
know how
follows
that's-
her inside.
That's
and-
the inherent danger of living in an apartment building, though.
Yeah.
But think of luxury high-rise buildings. I mean, there's some buildings, especially like Midtown East, where diplomats live and people from the General Assembly. I mean, they don't even allow you to deliver food upstairs.
Yeah,
Yet
they don't.
we have a brokerage that's okay with people going unescorted to a building. I can only imagine the phone calls between the owner of that building and that brokerage. I would imagine it's not going to go over very well.
I don't know
What-
what, I don't know what
level-
landlords you're getting to sign on.
I feel like Yaya is just saying that it makes it that much easier for them.
Yeah.
Do you think they're covering the
mean, can we
liability of
name-
Oh,
something
because they
does
can
happen,
wait.
though?
They could even wait in the building.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean,
That's-
can I name one now? Because I saw something on the updates.
Sure.
think Pine's doing that
Mine's
now.
doing it. Yeah, 100%. And they've always been a bit progressive. They have keyless entry, where you walk up with your phone, you get into the
But
apartment.
keyless entry was only available to brokers up until now.
Although also you do need the apartment master key. So keyless into the building,
Right.
but you need the apartment master key to get
Exactly.
into the actual unit.
But not all apartments do that. I'm sorry, not all landlords do that.
No.
True. Yeah.
I feel like it ultimately could be like a domino effect. One reason being, it'll give certain landlords the idea that they don't need to give us access to listings, and that would be a huge disadvantage to new agents. The reason being, previewing is one of the ways we find out what's in the neighborhood. We get familiar with it.
Well, on what Adam was saying is I can help somebody make a decision much more quickly and much more soundly because I've seen thousands of apartments.
Exactly.
And that's why I think previewing is super important, is to see the listings and be able to compare them. But
But a landlord doing that, I can imagine
But-
the headache they're looking at, especially like a landlord that may only have like 7 buildings, 10 buildings.
But let's look at it from a logistics point of view. If landlords already wanted to do that, they would be doing that right now. Because landlords can advertise for free right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Their team, like their overhead cost, is gonna skyrocket, and they don't want to deal with clients directly. They don't want to pay all these people. Because if you're doing these unescorted showings, you're dealing with everybody yourself. That means they gotta hire everybody from leasing, and then people who are handling different clients.
real estate brokers do a ton of the heavy lifting.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna take
We do
off.
the advertising, we do the showings, we
Right.
prepare the application,
Right.
we do the leasing. Landlords literally, a lot of landlords do absolutely nothing.
Yeah, they just look at the application, approve
And
or
approve it.
disapprove.
And then the
That's
super,
it.
the super
Yeah.
hands off keys, and the
Literally.
super does everything.
And they don't want to deal with all the back end bullshit, you know?
But what about the liability of the landlord if somebody falls down the stairs and breaks their leg?
Well, that's what I want to know.
Is
I
the-
was just trying to bring that up before. Sorry.
No, is a
I'm gonna cut you off.
is a brokerage liable or the landlord? I would assume
That's
the
what I'm
landlord.
thinking too. Is it the brokerage or not? Because there's no way you're selling a landlord on saying, yeah, let me throw all these people into your building day in and day out and say I'm not going to cover the liability. They have to be getting backed by someone that's covering that with a massive insurance policy. I don't even know how you cover that. But somehow they're agreeing to it because there's no way the brokerage would be in existence if somebody's not backing them to begin with.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they must have some financial backing. They must have some investors. I mean, they're
That's
building a
insanity
website.
to me.
They probably have.
It definitely, yeah.
A
It's
they
insanity.
probably don't have a lot of employees. They're not showing apartments.
Right,
Yeah, I agree.
exactly.
I would
So-
assume they do, but with every new thing, we're going to find out, right?
And better yet, are they previewing the apartments ahead of time? Are they also going to the apartment? Are they taking their own photos? Like, what's going on? How are they doing that?
Or do you watch this camera?
Are
right
they
here?
building up new agents? I mean, how are you building up new agents if you're not teaching them how to be real estate agents? You're teaching them how to be programmers.
Well, someone's getting photos and listing on the websites.
I wonder how that would work if the person taking the photos, how would they get compensation for
Well,
doing that work?
this landlord that's on board already is paying agents an OP, owner paid commission. So the renters aren't paying a commission here. Somebody's making a commission. Is it the brokerage? Is there 3 people that work for the brokerage and they're just working off owner paid commissions? And what do they do if it's a client paid commission, but the client did all the work?
Yeah.
Do you negotiate down?
Right.
Do they have a business model for that? Is it a set fee?
Yeah, also, well, yeah, that's true, yeah.
I mean, it's just, I think, in theory, it's a great idea. In application, it falls apart.
Right.
You can't have the general public going to private places where people live, places where there's valuable things, completely unsupervised, unescorted.
Nope.
You know, even with like a tracking beacon on them, I don't think.
Well, I would agree with you on that too. I mean, I don't even know how somebody would agree to that to allow you into your personal space with all your belongings. I mean,
this is a dangerous
that-
job.
that drives me nuts
You
to
know,
think
this is
that
a
they would
dangerous
actually-
job.
it is.
Real
I mean,
estate agents expose themselves to a certain level of danger.
how the tenants of those buildings feel.
Yeah.
That's
if they found
that's
out.
a really good perspective too. You have the general public coming to look at the buildings. What are your thoughts?
I mean, first off, think about when we ring the wrong doorbell to reach the super for the building,
Yeah.
and people legit actually call the landlord to complain. No matter how many times you say you're sorry, they're really upset. So I think that that's crazy that now your landlord's okay with letting people walk into your apartment building and just unsolicited, just going to check it out. They can hang in there all day for all they
You know
care.
what thought just hit me, and it's really funny that I didn't think about this beforehand. Is I feel like a lot of people's initial thought as a real estate agent is this is going to put us out of a job.
Right.
That just hit me as that
No,
could have
it's
been a
not.
potential thought, but it never was
Right.
because I understand the value that we bring to the whole process, but it just hit me now. The first things that came were security, liability, the tenants that are living in the building have just random people showing up to the building, walking around.
Right.
A lot of landlords don't want us to give out even the address of the building prior to the showing.
Exactly.
Because they
That's
don't want
actually something I didn't even think of.
they don't want people showing up unaccompanied.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I would like to know how the tenants feel about that. Probably not very happy.
Definitely.
so something I forgot on this podcast. Rosh, you can clip this in a little bit later, maybe cut it out and put it up in the beginning. But today we're drinking Mezcal.
Oh, yeah.
And again, we're entirely unsponsored. So if anybody wants to sponsor us on this Mezcal, we have debranded the bottles. So
We do love a good mezcal.
not all of us are drinking.
Yeah.
We should kick you out for that. But either way, Mezcal.
So
A
we're
lot
talking-
of people suggested tequila, and I feel like I don't know if I could just drink straight tequila.
But can we talk about the mezcal for a second, just as a terms of just kind of boosting mezcal just for a second for everyone listening? I'm a big Scotch drinker, but I have to admit I never thought I'd be so much of a tequila person until I started drinking mezcal, because mezcal is a very similar smoky flavor as Scotch, and I don't know about any of you, but like having that smoky, like peaty flavor to me is just like, it's the best. Especially in a time like now when it's cold outside and you want something that's...
Got a question?
Yeah.
Sure.
You ready? It says, should you rent an apartment or buy a house if you can afford $2,500 to $3,000 a month?
Where? Here?
Yeah, where?
You don't say where.
Rent. And I would rent for a lesser amount. It
Fair
costs a lot of money to buy, but what are we talking afford? Because afford doesn't just mean you have the money to spend monthly, you have to have a down payment. If you're looking to buy a co-op in Manhattan, you're probably looking at 20% down, and most co-op boards are going to want that you have 20% left in the bank.
Is it upstate?
Upstate. Well, we don't do the upstate market, but my advice is if you can get a good loan with a low amount down, then I would buy. I mean, I think that makes the most sense. In Manhattan, people move a lot. I think buying is a huge investment. Oftentimes you're paying maintenance fees and common charges, real estate taxes, well over $1,000 if you're looking in that budget. I think if you're downstate, I would rent. If you're upstate, I would buy. But again, it really, I need to speak with a person, understand their finances, find out exactly where they want to be. I'm giving a super general answer to that. But if whoever's sending that message, if you want to shoot me a DM, we can discuss much more. And I'd love to give you a much more personal answer.
Fair enough.
Right.
So back to the mezcal. Yeah, I would say mezcal is to tequila what Scotch is to whiskey.
Yeah, I agree with
It's
you on that.
it's smokier. It's got a little more depth in my opinion.
love
But
it.
again, I'm not a real big tequila fan, and I feel like this year, 2019, I've always drinking Scotch. In 2019, for whatever reason, we just started drinking
Mezcal.
mezcal. And I'd love to talk about the brands of mezcal, but we can't. No sponsorship.
What do y'all think of the mezcal though? You like it?
I like
Yeah,
it.
definitely like
It's
it.
good.
Yeah.
Definitely keeps
It's
me-
not that tequila. It's not the tequila flavoring, but it's
It doesn't taste anything like tequila.
no, thank
Not
you.
at all.
Not at all.
So, on that note, though, somebody recommended that we discuss the best location to buy in New York City and the best location to rent. So, what do you guys
Okay.
think the best location to buy is?
Is this for investment or?
Good question. Actually.
Well, that would
I'm
be-
kinda curious too.
I would look at any purchase as an investment
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to buy something that you're going to spend money on that's not going to appreciate.
Yeah, but I think I understand what he's trying to say. Like, are you
Yeah.
going to live there yourself, or are you going
Exactly.
to rent it out and be a
My
property
understanding
manager?
is it's for personal use.
Okay.
All right. Fair.
Then it goes to like, is it an older person, younger person?
You're looking to buy a place right now. You're young. You got some
Right.
money. You got some money. You came across some money. You don't want to waste it in rent.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going to move?
Chelsea.
Chelsea
To buy.
to buy.
To
To
buy.
buy?
Maybe
Well,
not. Maybe not. Maybe not.
I'm curious what your initial answer was and why.
Because I feel like it's a much like younger
Okay.
area of people compared to
I
like
live on the Upper West Side. Chelsea is much younger.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I live
you're
on the Upper East
64.
Side, like
Okay.
well, Spanish Harlem, but Upper
Okay.
East Side's right there.
Sure.
And I feel like it's just a lot more things to do for someone around my age.
Than where you are now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not shit over there.
Yeah, not at all.
No. But I actually, in my thinking, is if I was going to buy something, it would probably be in East Harlem.
Okay.
Okay, 100%.
No, that's definitely up and
Be-
coming. There's Third Avenue, Lexington are definitely upcoming avenues.
But
on,
I just think that with the way the retail business is going now, so the reason that a lot of people avoid that area is there's not much to do.
Right.
What do you unless you're going to visit somebody that lives over there,
Right.
or you're getting on the highway or going to the Bronx or something like that, you're not going through East Harlem. So
Fair
a lot
enough.
of people
That's true.
a lot of people aren't even familiar with it
Yeah, that's
because who goes through the East Bronx? Anybody in the Upper East Side? No. Anybody in Harlem, Central Harlem, West Harlem? No. They have the blue line, the red line,
Man.
and the orange line goes through there. Nobody's going through East Harlem, so nobody goes there.
That's true.
But the train line, you think they're going to extend the Second Avenue subway? Is there any talk on that?
There's eventually.
Okay, so in like 2050.
Yeah.
Okay.
As they-
I mean, if you watch Mad Men, they're talking about the Second Avenue subway, which just opened up like last year.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
talking about that in the 50s.
No, they've been
So-
talking about it for a while, and it's just getting built now, and they're still talking about
They're-
extending it.
Okay, yeah.
But as you know, it's gonna take decades.
It'll take forever.
Yeah.
When New York City releases like they're going to do something, and then you find out when it's going to happen, it's like if you're in any other city, and they're like, yeah, we're going to refurbish the bus stops, it'll be done August this year, and in actuality it's done in like
Yeah.
September. New York City's like, yeah, we're going to refurbish some train stations, it'll be done in 2025, the halfway point.
Then you get
Apple
delays.
Pay- Well, that's like when the Apple Pay and the MTA announced that they were going to join forces. This was 3 years ago.
That's never happened.
And they
Well, the-
finally announced, like 2 days ago or a day
Oh,
ago,
really?
that they finally now you can use Apple Pay to pay for your metro.
Oh,
Wow.
But
is
I
that
think
why
that's
they?
insane that it took
Those-
3 years
the
to
scanners
integrate
of
that.
Yes,
Like,
yes. Is that why they? added
How
that?
slow is progress sometimes in the city? It's insanity.
Very slow.
In terms of buying, by the way, I would slightly disagree on the East Harlem. I would say West Harlem, Hamilton Heights area, if not a bit
That's
into
definitely up and
Washington
coming
Heights.
as well.
Like not in the 170s, 180s, but I would definitely say in the 150s, especially by like 158. I mean, there's quite a few co-op buildings that are over there.
A lot of those co-ops are HDFC, which means you have to
True,
earn a
true.
certain median income, and a lot of them want cash-only buyers. So it's almost prohibitively.
Are you sure the cash on the buyer? I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, it's really difficult to buy HDFC. A lot of them want cash only, but if the income requirements are 60 grand to 90 grand, but they're trying to sell it for $500,000, who makes 60 grand and has 500 grand
Fair.
cash in the bank?
Fair. So let's put that off to the side. But I would definitely say more of a Central Harlem and Hamilton Heights area,
I
more
think
so than East Harlem.
The value for today is very good in those areas. Also, there's a ton of cool shit. My point, though, is there's not a lot of cool shit in East Harlem. And the reason I would go the East Harlem route is because there's not a lot of cool shit there now. But retail prices are going through the roof.
That's true.
We had Jazz walk up 9th Avenue, and he's got like 4 pages of just vacant retail spaces. So I'm thinking that a lot of these businesses are going to want to open up where the rent is a little bit cheaper. We actually did a restaurant, actually it was like 2 years ago. Tom and I did a restaurant, and they were in East Harlem. But I think that's where you're getting cheaper retail,
Fair.
and that's where there's going to be a lot more businesses. There's going to be a lot more like kind of posh like bars that are going to open up in that area, cooler restaurants.
They are definitely starting to.
But what are we talking about in terms of timeline, though? Are we talking 10 years?
No, but
12
if you're
years?
buying, I'm buying
They're
for
building. They're
value.
building new. As we speak, they're building. New
I know they
buildings
are. I
over
know they
there.
are. But
And
my
they're building
point
one
is,
right next to mine. There used to be a parking lot.
I'm talking also accessibility too. I mean, like that's an area where walking from 116 and Lex to First could easily take you 25 minutes.
Not at all.
20 minutes.
Not at
116
all.
From Lexington to First Avenue.
Not at all. Not.
I don't understand
No,
that.
no.
I would
The
say
east
20
side-
minutes.
No, the East Spanish Harlem. The blocks are much shorter than, let's say, if you're walking from West.
I'm used to being short, so I understand.
No.
Oh yeah, no, the avenues.
The
are
avenues are much
Avenue-
shorter.
Yeah, take just as.
Yeah, no way it would take 20 minutes.
You sure?
Yeah, I live on 3rd Avenue. It takes me.
Maybe I walked with somebody who walked a little slow.
It's
That's
effectively 3 avenues.
Yeah,
It's effectively 3 West
most
Side
of
avenues.
it, right.
fair. Okay, so fair enough. I'm not
No.
trying to dispute it. I'm just saying that it's
Because you have Lex to 3rd is effectively 1 avenue, right?
Yes.
one. Yes.
Those
Is
are
it-
really short avenues, and 2nd
No.
to 3rd is also short as well.
I'm thinking
5
avenue
minutes
length.
per avenue.
Right.
5
right.
minutes per avenue. That's not a lot.
No,
I've
it's-
walked it before.
The avenues there are like blocks.
Yeah, they're like street blocks.
Yeah.
You guys want to talk about where you would buy?
Me, I would think about
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. as biased as it sounds, as biased
Oh,
as
wait,
it sounds.
Judge. Educate me on the Brooklyn market, because I definitely
Brooklyn
need
is
this.
I
There's
think
a lot.
Brooklyn's been there, done that.
Brooklyn's
No,
huge,
it
man.
depends what
Brooklyn's
part of
huge.
but
Yeah, I agree with
everybody's
Johnson.
thinking about
It depends.
downtown.
It depends.
Everyone's thinking about downtown, but as you know, in East New York, they had a development plan. Like 2-3 years ago, de Blasio dropped the development plan for Brownsville, which is like a neighboring area. They're going to have opportunities for private developers, public developers. They're going to have affordable housing, the 80-20. And so it's going to be an incentive for developers to build affordable housing because they'll get a J21 credit abatement.
Also,
Tax credit.
where are they relocating the garment district? So there's huge plans to have a garment district in Brooklyn.
Wait,
real?
moving it from here.
This is
Basically,
new.
a lot because the rent here. Do you know what
may-
probably the previous business that occupied ours? But there's a law firm here before us. The rent probably doubled after they left to us, which is probably why they left.
Right.
And then before them, I guarantee was a clothing manufacturer, textile manufacturer.
Right.
But do you know what their rent was probably when they left? Like super. It was probably like $3,000 or something. Something. I don't know how long their lease was, but the rent in this area is like quadrupling, and it
What was market rates like? What, 30 grand a month?
Just about.
I
No,
think-
it's
I
Cafe Metro. Cafe Metro.
Cafe Metro.
They pay about 30 grand a month. Now I'll give you something funny. The lot where you stop at Super Stop and Shop out by Belrose.
New Hyde Park.
New Hyde Park. Thank you. That's a lot with multiple storefronts. It's got one of the largest Stop and Shops on the Eastern Seaboard. They pay 30 grand a month just for that Stop and Shop.
You could probably
Tell me how that makes sense though in terms of
You could
30
fit, like,
grand a
3
month right
city
here,
blocks.
You
and
could-
30
you could-
grand a month for a Stop and Shop that
You
has
can fit
over,
like
500
500 cars in that parking lot. It's fucking
Okay.
huge.
It's maybe even more than 6,000. I think I'm not even exaggerating that. That's got to be
Well,
mostly
it's
10,000
ridiculous.
square feet.
It's huge. Yeah.
Artie, did you
Exactly.
wanna add something a second ago? Oh, okay.
It's got to be more than 10,000.
So where in Brooklyn? Brownsville?
Yeah, the reason being because I understand that they're doing a development plan. They're in the midst of it. They're basically finished with East New York. So
Okay.
they're changing Eastern Brooklyn altogether. It's easy to get to in the sense of accessibility.
What trains?
You can take the 3, you can take the L, you can take the
The L?
J.
Yeah.
You sure on this?
No, the L
Well,
definitely.
yeah, it does. It's just the L, it literally cuts across.
Yeah.
all over the Broadway Junction.
And it goes all the way to Canarsie. So the L literally services like a lot of the Eastern Brooklyn neighborhoods. That's why when the city was going to shut down the L train, a lot of people would have been screwed over because it services that part of Brooklyn. So they're literally taking their time and working their way across. So they start from East New York. Brownsville is going to be next. So
Alright.
probably Cypress Hills. They're just
I would
working their way
imagine.
across.
East Harlem.
You're in West Harlem. I'm on the West Side. You're in Brooklyn. You're in
I would say either Inwood or.
where do you live? I'm just curious.
Oh,
You're in Queens.
I
You're
live
in
in
Queens.
Belrose, Queens. Yeah.
Okay, but and you would say where?
I would say either Inwood or South Bronx.
Ooh, South Bronx, to buy.
To buy, yes, because I was reading an article
Great.
a few
call,
months
man.
back. I think they're trying to do a $10 billion renovation to just revamp all of South Bronx. So
Yeah. Have you been out there?
yeah, I've been out there. Not good right now because it's all like
No, it's fucking awesome.
no, it's all industrial stuff. What are you gonna do there?
There's so many bars and restaurants. There's so much cool shit to do.
Okay, nice, like cool stuff over there, but it's also just like industrial shit, but which they're trying to get rid of.
Fair
and
enough.
then they're gonna
Fair
build.
enough.
They're gonna do all these renovations. They're gonna build more condos and apartments. And
But come on,
everybody's
this
gonna
is
wanna
how
live there.
Tribeca became about too.
Yeah, exactly,
Tribeca,
exactly.
30
But
years ago
I like-
was the most horrible place ever.
I like his answer a lot. I really
do
like.
too.
There's all these new construction buildings.
Right.
I have been to the Bronx, maybe in living in New York City, maybe a half a dozen times, maybe a
Right.
dozen times
Wow,
in a
I didn't know more
decade.
than
This year,
Right.
I've probably been that many times
And
at
the
least.
part of the
because-
reason it sucks right now is because they're doing all this construction. You can't do anything like it's just like
Well, that's fair.
roadblocks
That's
and
fair.
construction. Like
I
you
agree.
can't go past it. Imagine what's gonna be like in 10 years if you buy right now.
And that's what's happening in East New York.
You know. But with South Bronx is a lot closer to
Yeah,
you
it's
know
much closer.
Manhattan than.
I would say East Harlem's definitely less than 10 years.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't buy in East Harlem because even though there's not a lot of culture in East Harlem, there's a lot of people in East Harlem right now.
There's
So
it's gonna
plus
definitely
they got
change.
Mount Sinai Hospital right there, so people are already like prices are still pretty high.
Let
out
me-
there.
There's
me-
a couple hospitals.
let me-
See, that's
Public
what I'm saying.
hospital on-
Exactly.
Let me merge both of these topics. Okay. The first time I went to the Bronx, I was on the motorcycle driving upstate. I needed to check directions. Obviously, I'm doing 50, 60, whatever the speed limit is, of course. On the bike, I can't. There's no GPS. You can't. I'm not going to pull my phone out of my pocket, hit the
Yeah.
maps. So I pulled over. I'm in the Bronx. I realized I'm in the Bronx. I'm freaking the fuck out. Because I don't know, it's my first year in New York, I don't know shit about the Bronx.
Yeah.
I just know that's where bad shit happens. Because in the movies, the news, that's what
Word
that's what
on the
people,
street.
that's what, that's your impression. And now I think the Bronx is fucking awesome. I'm considering just, moving to the Bronx and getting a huge apartment, not huge, but double the size of what I have now, because I could spend the same amount of money and have double it, depending where you are.
More for your
and
buck.
I like the neighborhood. There's some cool spots over there. But the first time I was there, think of a renter or a buyer who's considering neighborhoods, who's not influenced by brokers, who's not influenced by a neighborhood expert or an expert on multiple neighborhoods, who's going to say, hey, I know this wasn't on your radar to begin with, but you got to trust me. Let's spend 15 minutes and go check it out. Right? And then that person goes over there and they're just like, holy shit, this place is fucking awesome. But that's the value that real estate agents and experts will bring to someone search. When you're not using a real estate agent, you're not getting that external point of view.
Right.
But yeah, I just thought I'd share that because it just hit me. The first time I was in the Bronx,
Also, you're
I
right.
pulled off to the side of the highway, got off an exit, and almost shit my pants.
Right, and also we try to get rid of that stigma, We still have a lot of people that don't even want to go above 96th Street right now.
I mean,
That's true.
I mean,
That's very true.
I tell people where I live all the time.
Right.
I mean, up in Harlem,
Right.
and I tell you right now, a lot of people still have that stigma. It's
That's
not
what I'm
going
saying.
away anytime soon.
It's not.
Although most people that live up there are mostly young professionals. They're new people
Right.
to New York City, and they love the area.
It's called gentrification.
Fair enough.
People from the
Like,
area
I-
don't like it.
But I moved up there, and there was one bar.
So you're the
And
gentrifier.
before I moved up there, he lived up there, and there was 0 bars.
How many is
So-
there now?
I would say close to a dozen.
Yeah.
Close to a dozen or two.
I knew the answer. I just wanted to hear it.
There's like 25 bars up
Yeah,
there.
maybe-
we
maybe
we go bar
every
hopping up
block.
there. I mean, if you watch my Instagram on a Sunday, it's like
Fair
one
enough.
place, the next place, the next place.
Going
So-
bar hopping is not as hard as it used to be up there, that's for sure.
No, you have to take a train in between bars.
Yeah, there's 3 right next to each other now.
Yeah.
So,
I was saying block after block.
So you said you like Inwood or East
South-
Bronx?
Oh,
South Bronx,
yeah.
South Bronx. As I know.
It was not bad too, because
It's funny because I didn't even
But
think
what about
about
the
that.
new thing that happened though, where they passed the rezoning law up there? Do you think that'll change anything, or do you think it'll help create more of what you're talking about right now?
Real quick, I'm not familiar with this at all. What's the law? What's
Yeah.
There was a
Right.
new zoning law where you could start building more high-rise towers up there, and there was a lot of tenants that were fighting against that because they were worried about what's happening in South Bronx to happen in Inwood.
But
So what are they gaining sky rights or?
Something along those lines, and more new renovation buildings and whatnot. And I don't think that they wanted to have that in the community.
Well,
but
That's funny you
they
say that
lost
because I
against
was
that.
out there the
But-
other day and they're really like
But see, how long is that gonna last? How long is that? They're gonna
Well,
push.
there's
push,
really
push,
what?
push, and then
It's
it's
really
gonna happen.
short buildings, like 7 stories,
Oh, yeah.
6 stories.
Yeah.
But also, I like Inwood because it's the only place in Manhattan where you could still be in Manhattan and not feel like you're in Manhattan.
I get what you mean.
I disagree.
I was
I
up by
disagree with
Inwood
you on
earlier.
that.
Why?
I would disagree as
I mean,
well.
Inwood to me feels very much like Manhattan.
I agree.
Well,
And
not if you're by
and
the
I
park,
think there's
you
other
can go
neighborhoods that are like that though. I think there's
I feel like I'm still in Manhattan for the most part, but like I get what you mean in terms of like it doesn't feel as cram packed.
Right, you
as,
got
like,
Fort,
let's say,
you got
Times
Isham
Square
Park,
or
you got
Well-
Fort Tryon Park, and
dude,
I
you could be in
was-
the center of Central Park and not feel like you're in Manhattan.
yeah, but
Yeah.
like,
And that's
everybody
the argument
knows-
that you're making.
Everybody
Although-
knows what Central Park is, like.
I will say though, Fort Tryon Park is fucking insane. It's a fort on top of a
Right.
small mountain,
But
a hill.
the thing is,
Hey,
you
where
could
is
be
it?
you could be in the middle of Central
190.
Park and still look in the
Oh, I
other
was right
direction
about that
and
today.
still see tall
Cool,
buildings.
man.
Hey guys, so Natalie Selena Alban, she's a friend of mine. She wants to know what SipTalk is, what's going on over here.
Hey Natalie, this is SipTalk. SipTalk, we talk about real estate. We talk about a lot of other shit too, and we just chill out and we have some drinks.
Great.
That's it. Is
Thank
it,
you.
is that sufficient?
I'll let you know once you respond.
If you know anybody who's looking for an apartment, or for commercial space, an office, or,
Contact me, not him.
or retail space, contact Artie and she'll disperse the lead accordingly.
To me,
Definitely
you
will
get-
do.
you got it, you got it.
Okay, so what about renting? Where would you rent?
Boo.
Where would I rent?
And remember that renting is a 1-year commitment.
Okay.
Sometimes 2.
All right, but I
Definitely
gotta
East
ask the
Harlem.
question in the room first. What are we renting for? Location?
Well, that's
Space?
that's
That's
different.
Or
all
amenities?
personal. That's
That's-
personal.
All right,
that's
but,
why
that,
my
but
question-
that would determine
No,
the
it
answer.
determines
right
the
then and
area,
there.
yeah.
Sorry
And that's
to
why
say,
everyone
but
will
like-
have a different answer.
I would-
Because you're
okay.
going to rent for one reason. He's going to rent for another reason.
I would say East Harlem.
Okay, so we'll start with Ty. You would rent in East Harlem,
Yes,
which
I
is where you
would.
live now.
I currently, well,
And you would buy in Chelsea. You would buy in Chelsea, but you would rent where you live now.
Maybe the other way around.
no.
So if
I'd say so.
No, I don't like that first answer with Chelsea. Let's just ignore that. All right, that was just
Hey, Raj, scratch that from the record.
yeah. No, but I would actually
I say
rent
keep
in
it
in East Harlem because you're getting more for your money and kind of being like within a 30-minute range of Manhattan.
You're in
Like-
Manhattan. You mean
No,
central
of
Manhattan.
the center of Manhattan. Sorry about that.
You mean 30 minutes probably wherever you're going to have a job.
Exactly.
So for somebody who lives out of the city, to qualify to rent, you have to have 680, 700 credit minimum, but you have to earn 40 times a monthly rent. So to contextualize this, your income is $120,000. You have $3,000 to spend monthly on rent, and go. So you're still in East Harlem. What's that in East Harlem? 3-bed? 3-bed in a
3,000?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 3-bed, 2-bath, easily.
It is, right? It is, right?
3-bed, 2-bath, easily. Easily.
All right, cool.
And
that's
you're next to a
walk-up building,
train.
walk-up building, elevator, but not a high-rise.
Definitely a walk up.
High-rise. Do you think you could get a 2? I don't think you. I
No,
don't
no,
think
no.
you could
High
get a 2.
rise.
I think
You're
you're getting
definitely
a
going
1.
in like the 2.5s. You're
For
definitely
what?
not
I'm saying for $3,000 in a high-rise building in East Harlem, I think you're looking at a 1-bed.
Of course.
Yeah,
Or
you're not
studio.
getting a 2.
Definitely.
But you could get a 3-bed in a walk-up building, or maybe
Yeah.
even an elevator building,
Yeah. It's
and good
definitely
space,
possible.
good space,
Of
like
course.
potential king-size bedrooms.
Yes, definitely.
So, but if
And
it's a new
enough-
construction, if it's new construction, you're getting a 1-bed at 3,000. You're just
Yeah.
you're paying off the builders.
That's that reminds me of what's going on in my neighborhood now. There's this building being built right next to me, and it's just 1-beds and studios.
Dude, I know.
And
It's insane.
and
Everybody's gonna be
it's-
single forever.
yeah, it's
I'm telling you, it's a
and
Tinder generation, man.
they're just
Right,
the same.
single?
They're literally the same price.
Yeah. All right, so you would rent in East Harlem, $3,000 budget. You get a 3-bed, 2-bath.
Oh yeah, definitely going for
All right,
that.
cool. Yeah. What's up?
Probably go in the Upper West.
Upper West, where?
Yeah.
Upper West is big. I mean, so is East Harlem. Let me just ask, East Harlem, are you thinking like teens? Like
I'm thinking
116 or like 120?
I mean, I wouldn't mind going up there, but I was thinking more about the lower side of East Harlem,
So like 100?
like the hundreds. Yeah,
Okay.
maybe the 110s.
Well, what's the last
Like
stop?
100
96 on the the Q train?
Yes, but I was more on the 6th line. I'm talking about
Well,
because that's Second Avenue.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking if you could access the Q train, you can go further east.
Right, that's true.
So, but you're thinking between 96 and 110.
Yes,
All right, cool. So
definitely.
we're in the Upper West. I'm an Upper West Sider, so
Yeah, not your kind of Upper West Side. You're like way out there. Not
I'm by-
next
I'm
to
by
the
water,
train.
yeah, I know.
Next to nothing.
Try walking there in the wintertime.
Oh,
I'm
must be
think-
brutal.
Thinking like between 72nd to 86th.
72 to 86. I like that area a lot. Where? Closer to the park or closer to Riverside?
I would say closer to the park.
Oh, that's gonna get small.
Yeah, it's going to get
No,
3,000.
no, but like in
3,000?
not in the pre-war.
You're not
but-
getting a 2-bed.
Okay.
You're definitely getting a studio.
No.
Can I ask
no,
though?
no,
He said
no,
not
no.
and I'm
In the
gonna ask-
pre-war 1-bed, you could get a nice, pretty spacious pre-war 1-bed
I
walk
just,
up.
I hope for people who are watching who are not in New York City that we're kind of contextualizing this for you guys, what 3,000 gets in different neighborhoods. So right now, we
enough.
talked about East Harlem in a walk-up building, maybe an elevator building.
Possibly.
That 3,000 is going to get you a 3-bed, 2-bath. All right, it's gonna get you a decent amount of space. It's gonna be a nice spot. It's gonna be a nice spot.
Definitely.
Whereas the Upper West Side, you can find 2 bedrooms for under 3,000. Probably not in this area.
No.
You got to be north of 95, north 96, and it's gonna be small.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really small. But so we're talking 1-bed. Are you talking walk-up building?
Yeah, like a pre-war with an elevator, you could find like a decent-sized 1-bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, 28.
But
28, 29. Even like sometimes good deals come around, you can find it for like 25, maybe 26.
it's good we
Yeah.
got that sneeze
So,
on record.
I mean, it's you got the 1 train, 2 train, 3 train, 8. No, not the A, the C, the B.
You got the A at 79, right?
A?
72.
No, you got the 1, 2, 3.
The 2 at 70, and then where's the A stop?
No, A
it's-
doesn't
yeah,
stop.
A
A
doesn't
doesn't
stop.
stop
C
at
and-
that point.
You got
Right,
you got
yeah,
the C and the B.
25.
Yeah.
You got the C and the B. You're
All
right
right,
next to the
can
park.
I ask you a question though? Why do you? So thinking of the three things that I just said: space, location, and amenities.
Right.
Out of the three, what are you picking that made you pick the Upper West Side?
I would say location.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely
Ty?
location. I would say
You pick location.
no. All three work with.
It's one.
No,
you
no.
get one. You don't get all three. This isn't like
No, but
multiple
that's
choice.
why I'm saying east.
It's multiple choice. Pick one.
Okay. Can I hear it again? Amenities, location,
And space.
space. Definitely space.
Yeah.
So
I
space
know
you're
that,
chasing. Okay, fair enough. Space, location.
Yeah,
and
I don't
Josh?
like I don't like empty space.
I would have to go Hamilton Heights.
Ooh,
Yeah, man.
my neck of the woods. Okay.
Yeah, I love it there. It's so beautiful,
So-
tree-lined blocks.
So Hamilton Heights is West Harlem between 135 and 155, west of what? St. Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'd say so.
West of St. Nick.
Definitely.
Great area. So what are we getting at $3,000? I say two bed
Yeah.
Yeah,
Too bad.
definitely.
in an elevator.
Elevator, laundry
Yeah,
building.
you're not getting a doorman building.
Yeah.
Doorman building silly is going to be probably 3,500. There's not that many doorman buildings.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like if there's one on 143, there's
161.
and their one beds are like
161.
35.
You get a shitty 3-bed in that neighborhood.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. They're
Not even that
shitty though.
no.
They're
the
not.
the building
I'm
wouldn't
not
be
gonna
great,
lie.
but the renovations would be good.
Yeah.
Minus the new Tenant
It's a
Protection
little
Act.
small in the living room.
What would-
Right.
What do you would you say you're going there for space, amenities?
Everything. Space, amenities, and
Ah,
location.
you can pick
No,
one.
no. See, I had the same
Oh, okay.
thing.
Okay, pick one. Okay, so I would have to say location.
Location.
But honestly,
Definitely.
in Hamilton,
Why
for-
location, though?
For a one bed, $3,000. Honestly, at that point, for that price in Hamilton Heights, you're getting all three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But think you get Riverbank State Park,
Right.
which is the best park in the city. It's the biggest park. They have indoor pool, outdoor pool. They have basketball courts. They have tennis. They have basketball. They have baseball field. They got a football, soccer field.
Jesus.
They have an amphitheater.
It's true.
They have
No,
a
it's
restaurant.
everything.
They have a restaurant. They have They have a
Literally.
carousel. What's it called? Carousel. with
Yeah,
the horses?
carousel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The restaurant also has fucking hookah
Wow. I didn't know
on
that.
Sundays. They just changed it now. It's Sundays.
By the
But
way, sorry.
but one second.
Yeah.
But I think Hamilton Heights is an awesome location for that reason. You get the park, you get a decent amount of space, you get a good 2-bedroom, a solid 2-bed, and you get a ton of trains.
Yeah,
The red
literally.
line and the blue line, especially if you're near 145.
Exactly.
And you have good restaurants and bars.
That is very true.
And the orange line.
He basically answered my question.
Well, yeah, sorry.
No, but no, I don't say.
I'm in
I don't
love.
mean that in a
I'm in
negative
love.
way.
I
I'm in
can't help it.
love. He's seen love.
I feel the
at
same way
first
about the
sight.
neighborhood,
That's
though.
Yeah, no, 100%. All right, sorry, Artie, what did you have?
So Natalie Alban, she stated that she's on the
Natalie.
my friend since elementary school, mentioned that she's on the Upper West Side and her apartment is not that great. It's very small and it's close to $2,000.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Location.
so, too, yeah.
As you
Natalie.
said.
Natalie, when are you going to come down and have lunch with Artie and have a discussion with me about where you're going to move next?
I'm looking forward to Natalie's response when she
Can,
does.
can I see both your phones real quick? Just this one. You hold on to yours. Thank you, ladies, for Instagram and Facebook living us. You want to introduce yourselves real quick?
Hi, I'm the administrative assistant. My name is Artie Dalal. I work with this team, and they're all very great.
All right, cool.
My name is Ivana Redwood, and I'm the social media intern.
And Vanna, you started
Oh, I started-
very recently.
I just started on
and,
Monday.
and you're kicking ass.
Well,
So-
we're super grateful for you both.
All right, ladies.
are.
Just
Definitely
I
are.
will return the hardware there.
No hardware.
They're getting warm. Those phones are hot.
Yes.
All right,
But
cool.
yeah, that's what you get for $2,000 on the Upper West Side.
Well,
Right.
true, but we'll discuss maybe a location change, or a lateral move. But clearly there's some discontent involved. So,
Somebody had a question.
what's up?
It's from Damien
Oh, boy.
Cypresi.
Oh boy, Damien, what's up?
It says, "Can I get a 4-bedroom, 3-bath on West 72nd in Amsterdam for under $2,000 a month?"
Negative.
Damien.
Fuck yeah,
Damien,
hold on.
Are you want to respond? Okay.
Damien,
go ahead.
I got you. I'm gonna round up 3 roommates for you, and I got you 2,000. Easy. 3 roommates. So I gotta tell you where I would rent. What did I say? What I would buy?
You said
You
you,
did-
said you didn't.
Yeah,
actually.
but you kind of
Oh.
agreed with
You just
him,
asked us,
so
like
All
moderator.
right.
would you buy?
Where would I buy? No, I think I'd either do right now. Where would I buy? if I had to live there myself, I would buy either South Bronx, similar neighborhood that we're talking about, or I would do East Harlem, 110%.
Okay.
You can't go wrong with these.
You just can't. I mean,
why don't you answer Damien's question though?
I just told him I'll find him a 4-bed, 3-bath on 2 bath, right? 2 bath on the west side.
You said
Oh, yeah,
3.
4-bed, 3-bath.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I
wow.
got you on the east side.
I want a mansion.
On the east side.
West side of Idaho.
No, $2,000 a month.
Damien, you're gonna
He
have to
just-
share it with all the
Under
other tenants in the building. You got it? You good?
Under $2,000 a month, I got you. You're just
I
gonna
seen
need
a
3
couple in
roommates.
Connecticut.
You're gonna need 3 roommates. So I would buy East Harlem or South Bronx.
The baby counts as a discount. You're good. Just go with a
What
smile.
about rent?
All right, guys. So I would rent. I'm on the Upper West Side now. If I had to move, I would either go in the same location as you, because because where I am there is no man's land. I'm by
It
the
is.
water. There's not much. I like that, but I also like being able to walk out and just you get anything. If you want a restaurant, you want a bar, you want a grocery store, you want a Warby Parker. Like there's none around me. There's
have nothing around
There's
you.
nothing around me. The water is there, so I can get up and go for a jog. Along the water. It's nice.
Or go for a swim.
In the Hudson River.
Compete with the guy who goes on the boogie board or the
They'll come
paddle
out with
board
a
every day.
jellyfish and a bunch of soda cans.
So Upper West between 72nd and 86.
Yeah, so I would say the 70s and 80s. 70s and 80s.
Prime location.
Yeah, 100. I don't think I'd go into the 90s. And if I had to move, I wouldn't go south of 70th. Like
No.
there's not much.
It gets too crowded down there.
I agree.
It's
with you
it's
on
more
that.
crowded in the 70s and 80s than it is where I am.
It is. That's true.
Well, no, because
Yeah, but the 70s and 80s were a lot
there's
of the
also-
bars in the Upper West Side, though. I mean,
Well-
if you go from 79th Street to 87th Street, there are so many bars in the
I
Upper
say
West
even
Side.
And restaurants.
Amsterdam.
I would say even longer than that.
But
I would
what's-
say to like
on
90s.
Amsterdam,
Oh,
Amsterdam,
okay.
Amsterdam.
My bad,
Between
my
Nice
bad.
Martin all the way up to Spice, I mean, there's
Yeah.
like probably over a dozen bars in just
That's
that one
true.
strip.
Just remember, guys, you're all individually mic'd, so you can't talk over each other. All right. But between me and Central Park, what is there? You're welcome, Raj. I knew Raj was thinking the same exact thing. So just be aware. Oh, you can't talk over
so you
people.
got Fordham University, Columbus Circle,
And
that's it.
and the theater there,
Yeah.
Lincoln Center.
Yeah, that's
There's
it.
nothing.
Yeah.
So, but if I didn't do the Upper West Side, if I had to move, I really think I would do Hamilton Heights, probably 140s
Yeah,
between Amsterdam and Riverside. I love. My old apartment was 151 between Broadway and Riverside, and I loved that location, but it was as far from the subway as you could get because it was 6 blocks to 157 and 6 blocks to 145.
Oh, nice.
So when
Right
it's
by
like
the cemetery.
when it's like you got to walk by to get to 157. So when it's like 19 degrees outside and it's snowing and you got to get to work and yeah, it's not cool. But I loved being on Riverside, which is why I'm close to the river right now. I like being close to the water. But yeah, that's where I would go to rent. And to buy, I'd be on the east side. I just think the value's there on the east side, and the value's going to increase. I mean, if you're renting, you're not worried about the value, right? You're just hoping they're not going to jack up your rent.
Very true.
All right, guys, you ready for the next topic? I got one more topic.
Yeah, let's go.
So the topic is, and this is a short topic, how we each started. So I can give you mine, the one-liner, and I can elaborate on it if you want.
Are you? Sorry to cut you off. Is that how we started real estate?
I'll give you my answer, and you can base
Okay.
yours off of mine.
Okay, no problem.
So I was living in South Carolina. I was there for a couple of years, in my early 20s, and I wanted to move back to New York, so I started taking. I didn't know what I was going to do here. I had a job. I could transfer the job, but I didn't want to keep doing that in the future. I had family that does some real estate. When I was in high school, my wrestling coach did real estate. I worked with him. He owned a lot of rental buildings. We used to go in and basically gut the rental buildings after somebody moved out, and we'd repaint them and
Renovations.
Yeah, we'd renovate the apartment, even though we were in high school. But it was mostly paint.
Right.
So I was living in South Carolina. I decided I'd get my real estate license and try to do something real estate related in New York. Took the course, moved to New York, didn't pursue anything in real estate. My roommate at the time that I met on Craigslist sent me a link to a real estate job on Craigslist. And I went in, I did the interview, The interviewer talked about 45 minutes. I talked about 6 minutes. Offered me the job. And I showed up the next week. That was it. So literally, roommate sent me a Craigslist ad for a real estate job. And I went in for an interview and took the job. And then I worked part-time, actually, in the first few months. And I didn't make any money. The other job, I was working at LaGuardia Airport. I had to be there at 5:30 in the morning, which meant up at 4:45. Up at 4:45. So I used to have to wake up super early, get to LaGuardia Airport, and then my job finished at 4 o'clock. So I would jump on the motorcycle and hit Northern Boulevard, Queensboro Bridge, into Midtown, and I would just park on the sidewalk, which is illegal, by the way. Pull the license plate off the bike.
Yeah.
And run upstairs.
Wow.
So until they changed my hours from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. to 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., which meant I couldn't do real estate on either side of that. So I either had to continue doing that or quit and do real estate. And I decided, fuck that shit. Here we are.
Nice. Here we are.
All right. I know your story, so I'm going to save that to last because it's kind of cool.
Go ahead.
And Josh, you're up first.
Oh, well, my story's pretty interesting. I've been licensed for about 5 years. The person who put the idea into my mind was my old mentor. I used to work out with him. He trained me in basketball, so it's like a lot of different aspects of my life. He's been a major influence. And one day he was like,
Play
"Yo,
basketball?"
Yeah, I used to.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Wow.
I didn't know that either.
I told you guys
Right?
I do a little bit of everything. That's why I can play Smash. That's why I like.
Clearly. Hey.
So he's the one who put the idea into my mind. I was working at TD Bank for the time. I was a bank teller. So I remember I was studying for the exam. I failed it the first time, which I was like very discouraged about. The second time I tried to take it, I missed it by 1 minute. So I couldn't even take the exam. I had to wait another month.
Yeah,
Dude, that's the worst. Once they start that exam, they lock those doors.
they go hard.
Like
They're
they
like,
won't.
That's it.
They won't even let you to the room.
No.
There's no
They
way.
won't even let me
I
sit
may
and
have
study
thrown my
before.
briefcase at a certain individual.
So I remember after that happened, I was like, damn, like, screw this. It's not for me. And then my girlfriend's like, no, just try it one more time. So I tried it one more time. I passed. And yeah, that's basically how I got into real estate.
It's 5 years ago.
Yeah. And I was in a Brooklyn office, and I've been here for about 7 months. And I feel this is the best decision I've ever made in my life. I should have came here sooner, but
And luckily,
Life situation.
hopefully, Jamir, Jamir. I hope you're listening somewhere. But thank you for sending Josh our way.
Thanks. Definitely.
No, for real,
No,
100%,
seriously.
100%. You have an intro. I mean, I know your story too, so I don't know yours.
honestly, it's pretty boring. But I was doing
Come
accounting.
on. Give
What a
yourself
great way to
more
start
credit
it.
than that, yeah.
It's only boring because you're not drinking.
Honestly, I was doing accounting before this. It was kind of boring. So I
Wait,
was,
that's way more boring.
yeah, exactly. I didn't want to do this. And one day, honestly, I was just online one day. I was like, and I saw Adam's post, and I was like, all right, let me give this a shot. I just thought like he's not gonna reply back to me, so I just sent him a message.
Zero experience.
Zero experience, nothing. I was like, oh, fucking real estate sounds cool, right? Let's try it. He called me back. I was like, all right, fine, I'll come. He called me for an interview. I missed my interview. I showed up the day after.
Oh, man.
Are you for real? And we hired you?
No,
Wait,
for real. Oh, it gets better. It gets better.
It gets so much-
Even Raj came out.
Yeah,
Is,
because
is,
Josh was supposed to do my interview.
Oh,
So
God.
I told Adam whatever some bullshit like this happened. You know, the typical.
family emergency,
Yeah.
food
So,
poisoning.
Adam's like,
Exactly,
all right,
exactly.
all right.
Fuck you.
Adam's like, come in at 10:30 tomorrow. I show up at 11:15 the day
I
after.
remember this.
You remember this?
I remember
You
this.
And then Raj comes. He's like, I'm not doing the interview. He's late. He's
So
a day late.
Raj goes in having a meeting with the entire team, and he walks into the conversation and goes, I swear, I'm not even taking care of this guy. It's your job. I'm not doing this guy. He's unreliable. Fuck this. Over. Out. Done.
So
That's right.
I mean,
That's right.
That's right.
well, honestly, because when I was talking to Adam, like, I didn't really know if I wanted to do this when I first came in for the interview. But then he kind of sold it. But then when I went back home, I was thinking about it. That's why I didn't really show up. I was like, do I really want to do this? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. Then I'm like, what have I got to lose? Let me just go in. And then I'm like, I'm still not sure if I want to do this, so I'll just, like, go and, wing it. And then... And then he was, I can see he was kind of pissed, but he still gave me the time of the day. So I was like, all
Fair
right,
enough.
let me do it. And then he left for a month.
Oh, that's good. You started.
So I'm like,
Wait, but I think gonna do Fair enough.
so I'm like, shit.
He's a well-needed
Well, I'm like-
R&R.
When did you start? What month?
Last year, September.
September.
So I'm like, I'm doing my course. I already bought it. Might as well finish it. By the time I finish my course, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. I like it, and I can really see a future here. So, and I've been here ever since. I've never looked for another job, and that's how the story goes.
But it's a cool
Yeah.
job. It's a cool career. You got to hack it, to be successful. It's not super easy. What we do every day is actually pretty easy, but the nuances are a bit more difficult to figure out.
But you get out what you put in.
Well, that's exactly the point, isn't it? Yeah. So when are we having that one-on-one?
What it's all.
I'm gonna hope by next week.
Yeah. Oh, you're not gonna be here next week.
No, but so the way that you
You
start,
will, I won't.
you should see my schedule, Raj. I should send you a graphic of my schedule for today. Artie, you set this up. So can you zoom into this? Can you zoom into this screen? Look how fucking double booked and triple. Put that on the camera, guys.
Oh.
Look how double and triple.
quadruple booked.
Yeah, we got one at 11:30, one at 11, one at 11:30, one at 12. I somehow have a gap here, and then I got 4 at 1, 2 at 1:30, 3 at 2, 1 at 2:30, 3 at 3, 2 at.
There's a gap in there because I gave you an hour for lunch.
You couldn't have put you gave me an interview at lunchtime. So.
I mean, all right.
This is insane. A lot of people take an interview to find out more about this business, but they're not sold on real estate. And we do a pre-screening, especially now. We do a pre-screening to find out a little. We ask a series of 5 or 6 questions to people before they book the interview. But it's really difficult to tell where that person is over the phone. So we take a lot of interviews for people who are not 100% on this, and we want to catch a lot of people before they're licensed. We want people beginner agents who are about to take the exam in the school, because we want them on board, before it's too late, basically. But yeah, we interview a lot of people like that, so we have an understanding of somebody who's late because they don't know that they want to do this.
Yeah, it's true.
That's true.
I was one of those.
They're depending on the interview. Some people I'm waiting for them to sell me, and there's a lot of people I have to sell them. Right, and it's a difficult place to be for an interviewer, because if you're hiring somebody for an $80,000 a year job or a $150,000 a year job, and your company culture is cool, they're going to want to work for you.
Can I ask you a
But somebody,
question,
hold on one second, somebody who's not sure they want to do this, and you sell them on company culture and the ability to make $80,000 in their first year, or $150,000, or $400,000 in their second or third year, like it's a difficult sell, especially when they're not going to get paid on week 1.
Right.
Maybe they will. I mean, I've cut checks on week 1 for people, but it's uncommon.
Yeah.
So it's a weird proposition, on both ends.
Definitely is.
So I fully understand when I have people that are late and stuff. I'm just like, fuck this guy. He's 45 minutes late for his interview, but then I'm like, well, he's new to we have to sell him a little bit, and actually, you're a really good example of somebody who turned out to be good, which you're maybe in the 10% of that pool, because most of them are shit. But we'll still take the interview, because you never know.
Yeah, it's true.
And a lot of those guys, we hire and they don't show up, because we have hired people who don't show up.
Yeah.
Sure enough.
All right.
Yeah, so my story is, I was introduced by this real estate industry through the DiGiulio Group.
So you're going back to CDI? You're going back to CDI?
Yeah. So I was,
Cool. You're in school.
Yeah, I was in school, and I didn't know anything about real estate. I didn't know anybody who did it. Nothing about the industry. I was talking to this high school advisor I had about a job, and she was like, all right, there's this real estate program doing an internship. And I was like, all right, sure, I'll do it. I had this talk with Justin. We were talking via email for a couple of days. I came in for an interview.
I didn't interview them.
No, yeah.
I did the first interview or the second interview?
Um,
I'm pretty sure I thought you interviewed Brian the first time.
No, I think it was, yeah, you're right. It was you and then Brian.
Okay, because he
believe.
was pushing me to have somebody intern.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
really hard. So you came in, and then I ended up pairing you with him
Yeah,
to see
yeah,
if that would
that's
be a
what
good match.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and then I was, I ended up being an intern for Brian. Then I was kind of like introduced into the real estate industry. I thought it was really cool. I wanted to make sure it was something I wanted to do. I could see myself doing it. I didn't just jump right into it. I was taking these classes as well. As I was assisting Brian, and then I took some time off. I attempted the test.
Well, your internship ended.
Yeah, it ended.
Internship ended.
Then I got another job doing construction. Took some time off. Had time to think about it, and then I was like, wow, I actually want to come back and work for the DiGiulio Group. So that's what I did on my own time. I came back and I guess randomly, I don't know, I didn't like contact any of you guys prior. I just came back and...
Dude, I didn't know it was you before you showed up. Like, true story. True story. I didn't realize that it was you. And then, I don't know if you told me or I put the puzzle together somewhere in my head, but I'm like, oh, it's Ty, right? And then Stacy recognized you right off the bat.
Yeah.
First day you came in, Stacy's like, Ty.
Yeah.
But you were a bit of a sleeper when you were here. You were like, you weren't very social. You just came in, you kept to yourself, you were really quiet.
I was very new to the environment.
Well, you were super new.
Yeah, of course.
And when you came back, I thought I was going to put you on my team, but being new, being an agent and
Right.
being new, you know, I'm not the best with brand new agents because I'm super tied up all day long. You saw my schedule today.
Yeah.
Like there was 2 half-hour periods which never actually existed because it was one person late and then the next person late.
Right.
Kamar didn't show up to the meeting and the whole day got became a clusterfuck. You
Right,
know,
right.
but that's how my days go. So I'm really glad you ended up where you did on a team because it ended up working out pretty well. And
Yeah,
I like the way things are going right now.
It did.
And we had a one-on-one last week?
Yeah, we had our one-on-one pretty
When's
early.
the next one?
I didn't schedule
Next
the next
week.
one yet, but I will definitely
Dude.
have to.
You got to do it. You got to do it.
Definitely have to.
So,
And I definitely don't ever regret the decision I made.
no, I think it's good. I think it's kind of meant to be the way that it worked out.
It definitely
The
is.
way that it worked out. I love the program that you came in on, like so much. You have no idea.
Yeah, they're
if
really good.
if Hattie is ever watching this, I owe her like Hattie. I owe you so much because you've done so good by the company. Like seriously, big time. We should just send like all the agents down there to just give her a hug.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah, she's really good. All right, Adam.
Uh,
I remember the day that I remember.
So, I don't know if anyone else knows, but Justin and I met back when I got my own first apartment back
I didn't hear
6
this
years
story.
ago, right? 6 years ago or so. And Justin and I met. We realized that we're pretty similar people.
So
And
Adam was a client.
yeah,
Oh wow.
I was.
I did not hear
And
this story.
I
And
went
what was your initial criteria?
a $1,200 apartment for a 1-bedroom with washer, dryer, and unit.
And what neighborhood?
Upper East Side.
Wow.
That's legit. That's legit.
No joke. By
Just
the
for the
way.
record,
That's
that
100% serious. Like no jokes, nothing. I understand how ridiculous it is now, but wow, I was so uneducated.
I'd like the $30,000 Ferrari all-wheel drive.
At least
With a
like
winch.
$65 a month, you know.
God.
So I met Justin getting in my own apartment. I wound up going further uptown into Hamilton Heights in West Harlem. And
What was your initial rent? I got you the closest deal. He got the closest
My-
feasible deal that you could ever.
Yes. My initial rent was $1,500 a month back in 2014.
What was the asking price in the apartment?
$1,795.
Ooh.
Something like that, yeah. And what did we get him?
$1,500.
Probably you're welcome on this. Probably one of the best deals I've ever.
Which is why I paid you a full fee.
No negotiation.
But it was worth it.
Him and I got in contact over the months of the summer and whatnot because I rented at the beginning of the year. And I was struggling figuring out a career for myself. I love sales, but I couldn't really figure out where I really fit in.
You were cocky as fuck.
Yeah,
You were
fair
cocky
enough.
as fuck.
And I'm
First
still,
job.
I'm still cocky
in-
as fuck, so who cares?
First job in Manhattan. Got an apartment in Manhattan. Cocky as shit. I was just
And-
like, this cocky motherfucker.
Now, fair point, but you know what? I hated my job, and I really couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. And then I lost my job in the fall. And I remember I met up with him. He was waiting for the new iPhone.
I was in line
All right.
for like iPhone 6 or 4.
And I was
Got
still
rid of
doing
that
my own
today.
phone 5S, living like a refugee over here. And I went up to him and I said, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. Next thing I know, him and I are having a ton of drinks. And he turned to me and says, you should join real estate. You should come work with me. And I did.
I was in line. You called me and said, "Hey, I just got let go," or whatever the situation was at work, and you were in a miserable situation. I said, "Well, I'm standing on Broadway. I'm going to be here for the next 2.5 hours. Stop by and we'll talk. We'll get some lunch or something." So whatever. We stood in line for another 2 hours. We had dinner and then we had a lot to drink. And what I said was, Monday's going to come around, and rather than be an unemployed person where you wake up at 10 o'clock and you don't know what to do with your life, wake up at your normal time, take a shower, get dressed, come to my office. I don't care if you just look for jobs. You can job search all day long. But at least your life's going to continue to be normal. You won't be making any money, but your life's not going to change. You're not going to end up in this. Depression may, try to set on, but you're not going to be in this fucking cave of an apartment. It was a very nice apartment, actually. But you're not going to be in a cave of solitude and depression. So come to the office, sit at a desk like a working person, and figure out your next steps. And his next steps progressed into real estate, effectively.
And so I did. But after a couple weeks of working at our old company, I realized how much I enjoyed real estate and how much I enjoyed the people I was working with. Because it was the first time in my life where I realized I was working with people I could really enjoy. Like, I don't know about any of you out there, but like I have met many people that I've worked with where I'd rather be unemployed than be at that job.
But Ty knows firsthand he came for an internship, which is no
Exactly.
pressure, and he was just chilling out, buying coffees and shit. I don't know what you were doing.
Yeah, literally. Meal plans.
Yeah, we got Vanda
Seriously.
here that today she went out and bought some mezcal. So
But
for the
that's-
podcast.
But that's
so.
totally fair. And for me, when I started in real estate, I was 2 months behind on rent. I was so broke. I had less than $200 in my own checking account, or $300. I'm sorry, not that it mattered much. But I was so broke, and I really pushed to make this career happen. And after a couple months of enduring like the most severe struggle I've ever had in my life, it made an entire career for me. And now, look, we have Yaya here today that wouldn't even be here today if it wasn't for my own struggle and endurance to experience that. And I wouldn't experience any of this, and he wouldn't, or both of you wouldn't, if it wasn't for him. So
We all-
it's kind of a chain reaction in its own sense, and fair enough. But I look at it as I took a leap of faith. And if I didn't do that, as desperate as I was as a 23-year-old when I started in this business, if I didn't take that leap of faith, I do not think I would be anywhere close to where I am today in terms of the success or the connections I have or the network I have in the city. And I owe it all to taking that leap of faith. And if any of you out there feel the same way, take that leap of faith, because you have no idea where it's going to get you. You have no idea.
Somebody who's considering being a real estate agent, getting into a career where it's commission only, and a lot of people we hire, the best people we hire, in my opinion, come with zero experience. And I like that because typically when I train them, they know no other ways. And if they do what I tell them to do, 100%, they'll be successful. But jumping into a career where you have zero experience and going commission only, because that's how it works in the city, is an insane decision to make. Because you could work at McDonald's and make more money probably in the first 2 months working full time than you will in this job. When people tell me they want to try this out for a few months and see what they think, I can tell you this from firsthand and from watching it happen hundreds and hundreds of times over. 2 to 3 to 4 months in this business, you will be in the worst place in your life. You're going to be working more than you've ever worked, and likely you'll be earning less money than you've ever earned before at a full-time job. Maybe not 4 months in, but definitely 2 and 3 months. It's not something that you can try out for 2 or 3 months, because that's not the apex of the career. All right, you're still on the low end. You're in the 2.5 of the bell curve, and that's not that's a really shitty place to be. but hopefully you're with a company that's going to support you, and there's going to be people there to support you and to back you up.
I can to add on to that. I was doing construction and trying to attempt to do 12-hour shifts, and it felt like hell. But when I do it here now, it kind of just feels like wow, I didn't even realize I'm doing a 12-hour shift.
Because it's a cool work environment. It's a good atmosphere, and what you're doing for work here, where you meet people and you explore the city, doesn't always feel like work.
It doesn't. That's true.
Right? And where you're just hanging out. This is us working effectively, but also it's spreading the word and bringing awareness to what it is that we do and to the company and to your business, and potentially bringing in clients. That's what this is about.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you're not gaining knowledge of the market in this moment, but we're discussing the market. We're discussing neighborhoods where you would live, buy, be it in Brooklyn. All right, is there anything else that you guys want to add on any of the topics real quick before we close up? I'm giving you like 3 more minutes.
Just trust your real estate agent, guys.
Trust your real estate agent.
We're professional problem solvers.
I'm about to release an article. About how the educated renter and the prepared renter is going to have a much more difficult time finding an apartment than somebody who just trusts their agent. Right. Don't just trust any agent, and trust me on that. Read reviews, meet with somebody, find out who you want to work with,
Right.
and whether it's 1, 2, or 3 agents that you're potentially working with. But don't try to do everything yourself, because if you're planning to pay a broker's fee, use the brokers. But I think the article, I may throw the article out. It's tomorrow, Friday. I'll probably throw it on Monday.
Sounds like a good one.
But I think it's gonna really kind of blow people's minds in the sense that if you think you're prepared and you're educated, you're actually doing yourself a disservice. If you take certain actions. I think being prepared and educated, brilliant. But if you take certain actions because of that, which would be the logical kind of reactions to being educated and prepared, it's actually going to do you a disservice. So educate yourself, be prepared, but don't take the actions that you would rationally and logically normally take.
If you think you're educated and prepared, you have no reason to come to a broker, so why do you come to one in the first place?
I agree.
Well, what about an exclusive listing?
No, that's fair.
Which that broker is promoting. It's funny because people are like, oh, I don't feel like I should pay a broker's fee because I found the apartment. And then you're like, well, I was the one that advertised it and brought it to your attention.
And paid for it.
Yeah, and pay, it costs.
Tell me about it.
Now that they're raising Street Easy to $6 a day.
So 6 now?
6.
January 1st.
6.
Crap.
This is something. This is going to be our kind of closing statement here. Street Easy is now charging $6 a day for a listing. Street Easy was acquired by Zillow. Zillow also acquired Naked Apartments. So if you list on Street Easy or Zillow Naked Apartments or Trulia, it's all the same. It'll be on all the websites. But we used to be able to list 200 apartments, 200 listings for a month for $89. 30 days, 200 listings. Now, if you want 200 listings, it's $6 a day.
Per
All right?
listing.
It's $1,200 a day. All right? Times 30 days. That's now $36,000 for the same number of listings that 2 years ago, 3 years ago, cost $89. Somebody math that shit out and get back to me. What the percentage increase is on that. Any questions, any feedback online? Because we're going to close up.
Daniel Surpresi had a question a while back for Adam.
Damien? Uh-oh.
Damien.
Is it about his height?
No.
His hair.
Oh.
What happened?
What happened?
This job happened.
Damien, that's really funny shit because we used to see your hair too. However, you might as well be as bald as anybody else because we haven't seen your hair, your head, your face, the rest of you in, what?
4 years? 3 years?
2.5.
2.5. We'll go with 2.5 years.
All right. So, but on that note, thank you everybody who joined us on live. I think it's really cool. We got a decent amount of feedback. I like that. If you're listening on YouTube, subscribe, please. Subscribe to our podcast now on Spotify and iTunes, which I think is kind of badass. And like us on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, wherever else. We love the exposure. If you know somebody who needs an apartment or needs to find a commercial space, retail space, office space, please reach out. All right, guys, happy Sip Talk.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.